Hey guys, what's going on? Man, wanted to talk about Bellator 281, the main event MVP versus Logan Storley. And Jesus, I mean this fight was it was a disaster. It was a terrible fight. I don't know who's doing the matchmaking in Bellator. They really it was a real miss. MVP is an exciting fighter. He has a very unique he's a very unique striker, very exciting, very unorthodox, and quick, fast, charismatic. That guy's charismatic, you can't deny that. And but man, pair him up against a grappler and he's just a fish out of water. I'm just surprised at this stage in the game that there are still very big name professional fighters that just refuse to study the grappling game, getting deep into wrestling, getting deep into jiu-jitsu, being such a big part of MMA, of the MMA sport. It's just something that completely leaves me just fucking surprised that happens. MVP at this point, people in the commentary say that MVP his ground game will improve, that his ground game will eventually it's 2022, man. MVP has been in Bellator for a while now. Here he is in his hometown. He gets a shot at some guy that is not really well known in Logan Storley, because the real champion, Amosov, he's out of commission. He left right now he can't fight. He's Ukrainian. He went back to Ukraine, I think. And so he just couldn't make this fight, That's basically the story. So what happens? Bellator had this fight scheduled, I think, in England, where MVP was supposed to meet and fight, Amosov for the title, and it was a bad matchup. Even the original one was a bad matchup because Amosov's specialty is ground game. He's a great grappler. That's how he won the title. He's more refined than Logan Storley, that's for sure. So here's Logan Storley. I don't know much about the guy. And this guy, he's billed as a wrestler. He's a wrestler. Terrible striking skills from what I saw. And here's MVP. He can't put away a guy that has no striking at all whatsoever. So MVP is looking bad. He's looking bad in all the rounds. I think the best round he had was round 2, where he had a few moments, intended flying knee here and there, but at the end of the story, at the end of every round, he was on the ground just trying to get up. And he has this wet blanket in Storley on top of him, and you could see how the crowd just, man, died. I mean, this is the hometown hero, MVP, and he's not doing anything, man. He gets taken down, and all he does is just try to get up. He's you can see him struggling to get up, just stiff as a board, while the other guy is blackening him, and it's just a mess, and it makes for a terrible looking fight. It's just horrible, and Bellator really fucked up on this one. Terrible main event, man. And just because I've been watching MVP for a while now, I commented on his fights before, And it's just one of those things, man, that it's just, it's very, very frustrating to see. Frustrating to see, and I got nothing good to say, because this is the main event. This is at a high level already, at least for Bellator standards. They're fighting for I think it was an interim welterweight championship, and at the end of that fight, neither of them really deserved to get this belt. They didn't deserve any recognition. Logan Storley he only won because he has better wrestling skills than MVP. But this is a guy that was just the definition of a wet blanket, just on top of MVP, not doing anything. At one point, they're both on the ground, punching each other's thighs, and like a very, very, it was like a sparring session. And even if it would have been a sparring session, it would have been a horrible sparring session. Two guys that just looked tired, just going through the motions, and just shitting on Bellator's main event. It was crazy to see. Talk about terrible fights. A lot of people talked about that current women's fight between Rose Namajunas and Esparza, and that fight they just refused to engage on each other. It was a terrible fight, I agree, but this one they did engage. MVP did try to punch this guy. And the other guy grabbed them, and they both engaged each other. But it was just terrible, terrible matchup. I don't know what they're gonna do, how they're gonna build MVP at this point. The guy has just Bellator has tried his best to make a superstar out of the guy. And the guy is, like I mentioned, he's charismatic, but he's just not. When it comes that time to face top opponents, and especially opponents with grappling skills, opponents that go to the ground and take you to the ground, MVP is just a fish out of water. I don't know what it is with these stand-up fighters that have superior striking skills. They have to make an effort, and I think a lot of this has to do with their camps, their corners, their gym. Make your guy go to jiu-jitsu class, man. Make your guy grapple, make your guy wrestle, make your guy submit people, make your guy show up for the grappling classes, because this is a big part of the MMA sport. Grappling, wrestling, takedown defense, going for submission, escaping submission, looking busy on the ground, grounding and pounding, and just trying to finish people. If they take you to be a complete fighter, take you to the ground, you're comfortable there. If they wanna go for submissions, you're comfortable defending them and going for them. And boxing, karate, whatever, just try to be a well-rounded fighter. And obviously MVP is not a well-rounded fighter. From what I saw, it was just very disappointed. It was a fucking mess. And this Logan Storley, he becomes the interim champion, I believe. And I don't care. I mean, I just don't care seeing the guy fight. It's just, and I'm sorry to say, I mean, all due respect, because yes, they did something right to get where they're at. I know that, but it's just, one of those things. And Bellator is at fault too, because they're matchmaking. How can you make this match is what I'm saying. MVP versus an unknown wrestler, and MVP just comes up short. I just wanted to comment on this fight that I recently saw. It was one of the most terrible fights of this year. Those are just my honest opinions. Thanks, guys, for listening. Give me likes, dislikes, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so.